Milky Way beginning, the royal summons. I never thought a maintenance technician like me would ever set foot inside a royal star cruiser, let alone be summoned to a ceremony attended by the most feared and admired rulers in 3 galaxies. My job was fixing oxygen valves and refitting power cores on older civilian transports, not mingling with diplomats, war veterans, and aristocrats wearing robes worth more than my entire neighborhood. Yet there I was, standing in a massive hall lined with crystalline pillars that shimmered with their own internal starlight. Hundreds of alien species mingled with each other, some towering giants, some luminous beings of light, others covered in iridescent scales. My human boots felt too loud for the polished obsidian floor. I clutched the invitation cylinder in my hand, still not understanding why I had received it. It bore the royal seal of the House of Valen, the ruling family of the Hellion Empire. Their symbol, a phoenix made entirely of flowing golden energy, glowed subtly on the metal. Invitation confirmed, a soft automated voice spoke as I approached the entrance. Name, Elias Thorne. Occupation, civilian engineer. Note, classified attachment authorization Omega Blue. Omega Blue? That was a clearance level reserved for high-ranking officials, not people who spent their days covered in engine oil. I tried to ask the attendant drone for details, but it had already floated away, scanning the next guest. I stepped into the hall, overwhelmed by the lavish interior and the hum of 100 different conversations. Everyone here looked important. Everyone except me. I scanned the benches set along the perimeter of the hall, hoping to find an empty seat before I embarrassed myself by standing awkwardly in the corner like a lost child. That was when the room fell silent. Every being present turned toward the grand staircase at the far end of the hall. A wave of shimmering light spread across the ceiling as the ceremony's primary guest made her entrance. Princess Arale of Valen. I had heard stories about her, stories the galaxy recycled endlessly. Warrior of the Twin Suns. Heir to the Hellion throne. A strategic genius. A diplomat whose smile could end wars or start them. I expected someone fierce, imposing, maybe even cold. I did not expect someone who looked like starlight woven into flesh. Her skin was luminous silver with faint blue patterns that glowed gently like nebula filaments. Her long, flowing hair shifted between shades of white and pale violet as if gravity did not affect it the same way it affected ours. Her eyes, those were the most striking, deep gold with swirling solar patterns in the irises. She walked with the confidence of someone who knew the weight of galaxies rested upon her shoulders. And yet, when she descended the stairs and scanned the hall, her eyes, those blazing suns, landed on me. I froze. She tilted her head slightly, as though trying to place me. The hall resumed its chatter, but her gaze did not move. I quickly looked away, flustered, and pretended to fix the collar of my shirt. She couldn't possibly be staring at me. I was nobody. Just a technician. A human technician, at that, one of the least politically relevant species in the galaxy. Seat, I muttered to myself. Find a seat before you make this worse. I spotted an empty space on a marble bench near the wall and moved toward it. But just before I could sit, a warm, firm hand closed around my wrist. I looked up. The alien princess stood right in front of me. Her golden eyes glowed brighter in the close distance, filled with something between curiosity and determination. Her voice, low yet commanding, brushed against my ears like a solar breeze. Not there. Here. Beside me. Before I could protest, she gently but firmly led me toward the elevated seating reserved for her entourage. People stared. No, everyone stared. The royal advisors, the generals, the nobles, even the alien musicians paused mid-note. I swallowed hard as the princess guided me to the central dais, seating me beside her on a throne-like bench carved from shimmering blue crystal. Princess Arale, a nearby diplomat whispered urgently, That seat is. She raised her hand lightly, silencing him. Then she turned to me, her voice softening. You were about to sit alone, she said. I could not allow that. My heart felt like it had been launched into hyperdrive. Why me? I asked, my voice trembling. She only smiled. You will see soon enough, Elias Thorne. Milky Way middle, the secret they hid from me. I hadn't even processed the shock of sitting beside the princess when the ceremony officially began. A massive holographic screen illuminated the hall, projecting images of distant star systems, ancient space battles, and Helion cultural history. But I barely saw any of it. I was too aware of the way Princess Aralei's presence radiated heat like a gentle star beside me. Too aware of people whispering, pointing discreetly, wondering who the human was who had been chosen to sit next to her. I leaned slightly toward her. I think there's been some mistake, I whispered under my breath. There has been none, she replied without looking away from the hologram. But I'm not special. I'm not royal. I'm not even important. I fix engines. Her lips curved. That is why you fascinate me. What kind of answer was that? Before I could ask more, the hall darkened. A deep, resonant voice filled the air. Tonight, we honor a discovery that will alter the fate of the galaxy. I frowned. Arale turned toward me slightly. Listen, she said. This is the part that concerns you. Me. The hologram shifted, displaying a rotating image of a glowing, crystalline structure shaped like an hourglass. The Helion Codex, the voice continued. An ancient relic capable of choosing its own guardian. Excited whispers spread through the hall. The Codex was legendary. A mythical device that selected a being capable of stabilizing collapsing star roots and maintaining balance between the dimensions. Only one guardian existed per era, chosen once every few thousand years. 3 days ago, the announcer continued, the Codex activated for the first time in a millennium. It sent out a signal. A bright pulse flashed across the hologram, in the direction of a small civilian spaceport on the outer rim. Wait. My stomach twisted. That was where I worked. Arale watched my reaction closely. The Codex, the announcer declared, has selected a guardian. The hall erupted in gasps. Records indicate the signal locked onto a human. Elias Thorne. The entire hall turned toward me at once. My heart nearly stopped. What? I choked out. No, that can't be. Arale gently placed a hand on my arm. Do not panic, she whispered. Panic? I hissed. The whole galaxy thinks I'm some chosen guardian. Her golden eyes softened with something like reassurance. Because you are. But why? I'm not powerful. I'm not even trained. I don't know anything about cosmic relics. She shook her head. The Codex does not choose based on strength or skill. It chooses based on potential. I stared at her. And you knew? That's why you told me to sit beside you. Yes, she admitted. Because from the moment the Codex activated, your presence has mattered more than any general or diplomat in this room. The weight of her words sank into me, heavy and terrifying. You will not face this alone, she continued. The Guardian and Princess of Valen are traditionally bonded. I must guide you, protect you, and stand by your side. A few nobles gasped loudly overhearing her. Bonded? That sounded dangerously close to. Are you saying, I whispered, that you and I are connected now? Her voice dropped into a soft, intimate murmur. We were connected the moment you stepped into this hall. My breath caught. But before I could respond, a violent tremor ripped through the entire cruiser. Explosions echoed from the outside. Panic erupted as alarms blared. Everyone jumped to their feet. Arale grabbed my wrist once more. Stay close to me, Elias. Milky Way: The Attack and the Princess's Revelation. The hall plunged into chaos as red emergency lights bathed the crystal pillars in blood-like hues. Servants rushed to escort nobles out. Soldiers formed protective lines around the exits. Another explosion. The star cruiser shook. Arale immediately shifted into warrior mode. Her posture straightened, her expression hardened, and energy crackled along the glowing patterns on her skin. She pulled me toward a hidden corridor behind the dais. "What's happening?" I yelled over the alarms. "Rebels," she said. "The Kral Dominion, our enemies. They must have intercepted news of the Guardian. And they're here for me." "Yes. They want the Guardian dead before the Codex awakens fully." My legs nearly buckled. She squeezed my hand tightly. "I will not let them take you." Her voice was sharp, fierce, yet filled with something protective, almost personal. We raced through the narrow corridor, taking sharp turns until we reached a smaller chamber with transparent walls showing the outer space through energy shielding. A Kral warship loomed outside, dark, spiked, monstrous, firing plasma torpedoes at the cruiser. Arale tapped a control panel, activating a shimmering barrier around the room. "What is this place?" I panted. "A royal escape chamber," she said. "Small enough to avoid detection. Strong enough to survive ship destruction." She turned toward me, golden eyes glowing brighter. "I need to show you something." She placed her hands over mine. A surge of warmth spread through my palms. Suddenly, the Codex appeared, floating between us, formed of pure light, spinning slowly. Or rather, not the Codex itself, but a projection of it, responding to my presence. Arale inhaled softly. "It recognizes you already." I don't understand." "You will," she promised. "When the Codex chooses a guardian, the princess must become their guide. It is an ancient pact." I swallowed. "What does that mean for us?" She stepped closer. "It means your fate is now tied to mine. Your survival is my duty. Your growth is my responsibility. And your presence." She hesitated, then whispered. "Awakens something in me I did not expect." My heart stumbled. Arale, the royal, untouchable princess, speaking with such quiet intensity shook me more than the rebel attack. But I couldn't process it long. A deafening boom echoed through the chamber as a plasma blast struck the cruiser's hull. Panels burst. Sparks flew. Arale wrapped her arms around me, shielding me with her own body as debris rained down. Her skin glowed fiercely, forming a protective energy field that absorbed the impact. "Are you hurt?" she asked urgently. I'm okay," I gasped. "But you?" "I am fine," she said, though her breath hitched. A crack spidered across the chamber's outer shield. "Elias," she said, grabbing my face gently, forcing me to look into her blazing eyes, "you must trust me now." "I do," I whispered. Her expression softened and then turned fierce again. "Hold on to me." I obeyed instantly. She activated the chamber's emergency propulsion system. The floor vibrated. The walls brightened. Arale pressed her forehead lightly against mine. "Do not let go." Then, the chamber ejected into space like a shooting star. Milky Way ending, the beginning of a bond. The escape chamber streaked through space, leaving behind the burning cruiser and the attacking Kral ship. The propulsion engines roared, pushing us into deep space far faster than any civilian ship I had ever worked on. After several minutes, the engines stabilized. The alarms silenced. We were safe, for now. Arale sat on the floor, breathing heavily. I knelt beside her. "Princess Arale, are you hurt?" She shook her head. "Just exhausted. Using that much energy at once, it takes a toll." I hesitated, then offered my hand. Surprisingly, she took it. Her fingers tightened around mine, warm and trembling slightly. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "If I weren't chosen by this codex thing, none of this would have happened. Your ship, your people." She shook her head firmly. "You must not blame yourself. Destiny has chosen its guardian. The galaxy will shift because of you." I exhaled shakily. "I'm just a technician." "You are more," she insisted. "I saw it the moment I looked at you." Her voice softened again. "That is why I told you to sit beside me." I looked away, flustered. "You really meant that?" "Yes." A moment of silence passed between us, filled with the hum of the chamber drifting through space. Then she leaned slightly closer, her golden eyes warm. "You have a courage you do not yet recognize," she said. "And a kindness that draws me." My face flushed. "Arale, I don't know how to be the guardian. I don't know how to protect anyone." She smiled softly. "Then I will protect you, until you learn." The chamber's console chimed suddenly, displaying a star map of nearby systems. Arale stood, composing herself once more. "We must reach the Helion sanctuary," she said. "There, the codex will awaken fully. And so will your power." I swallowed. "My power?" "Yes," she replied. "What you feel now is only the beginning." She stepped beside me, close enough that her presence felt like a sun warming my skin. Her voice dropped to a soft, near whisper. "And wherever you go, Elias, I will be beside you." I looked at her, at the luminous patterns across her skin, the fierce determination in her eyes, the unexpected gentleness she showed only to me. I understood then why she had pulled me close. Not out of duty, not out of protocol, but because something deeper, something ancient and unspoken, had sparked between us the moment our eyes met. And now, bound by destiny, danger, and something that felt dangerously close to affection, our journey was only beginning. The chamber drifted toward the distant star route, engines igniting once more. Princess Arale stood by my side. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like nobody. I felt chosen. I felt seen. I felt hers. But also the beginning of the next chapter in their saga.